Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's time for the final best of 3 of MLG Anaheim 2014. It's Polt versus Trap. Trap made that first series look easy.
Yeah, but there is a very interesting chain of development because apparently we are playing 2 best of 3s and we all knew that, and now we have a brand new best of 3. But the only rule is, and it's a very funky rule, that the maps that were played in the first best of 3, Frost and Nova Grove, I would say the 2 most popular maps out there, they are not allowed to be picked again. So we're going to see a very different set of maps. And there's a high possibility we'll even see some of the maps that these players might not necessarily have a whole lot of practice on.
Yeah.
If they just don't like it. Like, how often do you play PvT on Waystation? Well, I don't play it very often.
The first map is going to be Merry-Go-Round, which we love to talk about being a difficult to defend third base. Paul loves that. We'll have all the opportunities to snipe that Nexus, but we've seen Trap be incredibly strong when he starts 2 base, when he's patient, when he gets his upgrades. If you deny Polt his biggest move, the Nexus snipe, how does he win?
Yeah, this is really interesting how this one is going to play out, and I can't wait to talk about it, but we are currently being loaded in to our first map of the final best of 3 of the day. We had 3 amazing days of StarCraft 2, and Sean, why don't you go ahead and introduce our players one more time, or well, at least 2 more times.
In the top right-hand corner, he said it was easy on day 1. He made it look easy in Series 1 of this finals. Can he make it look easy one last time? I am Trap! And his opponent, representing the American flag at this event, has only lost 1 series and hoping to keep up that streak. It is CM Star Polt!
I really like what you said about Merry-Go-Round, because it is indeed very hard to go up to 3 bases as a Protoss player on this map. If you just look at the way that the map is designed, where do you even take it? Do you take it all the way at like 12 o'clock? That is so far away. Or do you take it like below your main, but then you're going to have to jump in between your main and this base over and over again, as it is very easy for Terran to pick up units over here and drop them in the main. However, there is one thing that does work in Protoss their favor, and that is this weird invisible, or this like invisible force field wall around the bases. Yeah. Once medevacs go in, they will often stay in. There is no way out. He can't just fly into space. He will be blocked. It's like a force field. And that is really nice for Trap, because you know we all know that Polt loves to drop. So every now and then these units will be committed. Units that go in will often not get out anymore. That is the only good thing for Protoss about this map.
Polt opening up with Reaper, going to be getting a scout off. And in terms of the long-term play for Trap, I would love to see him stay on 2 base for almost as long as possible. There's not a lot of great angles or great opportunities for Terran players once you get to mid-game, because Terran, the only reasonable 3rd base location is pretty dang exposed. So until you can apply pressure to Protoss, until you can deal damage to him and batter him down.
Wow, and this is really quick. It's not the quickest possible proxy pylon, but it is pretty damn quick. And look the way that the Reaper, oh my god, no way. Well, that's gonna get real close and real fun. It will of course most likely be a Stargate. Anything else would be almost redonkulous. But here comes the Reaper. Oh my god.
Oh, there it is. It's a Stargate, and it looks like Polt is trying to check.
Though.
He's checking around. He has a suspicion. He sees that there's not just no Nexus, but no attempt at a Nexus. So immediately Polt is going to start worrying that something's wrong. He's pulling up. Oh,
what a great scout here for Polt. And that is definitely going to make his life a little easier. Of course, he still had the SCV in the natural. And he's like, hey, you're mining off 2 assimilators with 3 probes? Why are you doing this? You must be proxying something. So he goes out immediately. A 2nd pylon. Trap doesn't want to give up, Sean. He's like, nope, I want to get my Stargate up and running. And I will get oracles out.
I mean, this is a nice move. It's a very efficient move from Polt. Just telling the Reaper to attack the pylon. Oracle is really never, ever going to want to try to shoot at that Reaper. It's just an utter waste of energy. And in Trap's shoes, what's your play now? I mean, are you just fine with that? Just play it out normally, still try to harass?
I mean, and having an Oracle is still nice, especially if it perhaps is more than just one Oracle. Polt will get that pylon, and he's probably confused, like, wait, what? There's still power on that Stargate? That makes no sense. Of course, Polt shouldn't take a whole lot of damage from this Oracle, but that doesn't mean that the Oracle is useless. These Korean Protoss players, they keep impressing me with just making a single Oracle, always somehow finding an opening, and above all, even if they don't deal a whole lot of damage, they can still transition out of this, which is really impressive. And whenever I feel I make an Oracle, I feel like, oh, I have to kill so many SCVs. These guys, I really don't think that Trap is sweating it all that much. He's obviously not happy with the fact that he lost his pylon, but I don't think he's like, oh man, I'm so far behind.
But the one danger that we're already seeing Polt get ready to exploit is the fact that, well, if you're going Oracle, you're going to have to get some big defense up to hold your expansion. Look at the amount of space outside of Trap's base. That's going to make it very tough to do any zoning with force fields. So I genuinely think that Polt is going to do one of his classic 3 racks pushes, and it's going to be very difficult for Protoss to stay alive.
Oracle is still doing work, picked off 3 SCVs so far. This Reaper is still working on that pylon, so it seems like this Reaper is actually going to get the second pylon. I was a tiny bit surprised that he activated energy to kill that one SCV. I would have probably preferred to, use my energy to kill that Reaper. Killing a Reaper is always nice. It's a fast and annoying unit, and above all, you keep your opponent in the dark. And for all Polt knows, there will be another Oracle, and maybe even one more. So a little bit surprised by Trap's decision making there, but I'm sure he knows what he's doing.
Well, now Trap is going for gateways with +1 armor. There's a lot of circumstances where this is just normal and standard, but I mean, that pressure is starting to crank up. Polt is starting to get the opportunity to actually just push and attack. What do you think about this play?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind to see 1 or 2 defensive cannons at all, and that is very unlikely, of course, in this matchup. This is not PvZ. Protoss is not supposed to get defensive cannons, but the way that this has played out, he just doesn't really have a whole lot of DPS. What he does have is a photon overcharge, and we all know that photon overcharge is pretty damn amazing, especially when you complement it with good force fields. So, but I think a single cannon wouldn't really hurt, but so far Trap doesn't seem to want to waste his money on that. He's like, nah. Forges offer upgrades, not for cannons.
Well, right now, Trap is going to show us the big decision of why he was getting the Twilight Council. Okay, there it is. He's going for charge. Now, this style, I think, is going to be very much so favoring Polt. Polt will have the opportunity to go mines, to go bio. It's a big mass army force that we're going to see out of Trap, but it's hard to maneuver. It's hard to be all the places that you want to be when you have zealots that don't really navigate the high and low ground as well as the Colossus do.
Even 2 more gateways being wiped in, and of course you're spot on with that as well. Oracle still being annoying, picked up a few more SCVs, going to slow down the production. I think it's a little unfortunate for Polt that he decided to drop his 4th and 5th racks before his 3rd command center. Against this opening, it is basically impossible for Trap to be aggressive anyway, but oh, the Oracle will fall.
And that's exactly what you're talking about, that those walls at the backside create the force field, locking everything in, making all the units party together with the air. They're not going to be hiding off in the corners like in those early maps.
But before the Oracle died, I think it would have been a lot better for Polt if he would have gone 3 command center after his rack, after the starport, instead of building that 4th and 5th racks. He will be able to keep up some sick non-stop aggression, but I do not think that Trap is going to expand. So 2 base versus 2 base is always fine. And I think even with just 3 racks, Polt would have been able to be just as aggressive and dictate the pace of the game for a while, because Charge is pretty good in the straight-up engagement, but he's not going to be able to spread himself thin. He's not going to be able to run over the map, and above all, he shouldn't really be able to actually get super close with the units and kill them. Charge will get you close, but it won't deal that finishing touch. It won't be able to snipe a medevac and whatnot.
Looks like Stargate's going to fall down. Doesn't really matter in terms of the composition, but that is the last time that Trap's going to have any real vision on the map. I mean, look at Trap's vision. That doesn't feel nice. The Zealot is like, I'm going to pretend I'm an observer, and if I do it hard enough, maybe I'll become invisible. And Polt is, of course, going to waltz right up and kill it. Trap hitting that critical 7 gateway mass, which is just enough to constantly produce off all the gateways.
Yeah, and this probe on the left side of the map is actually very dangerous, because there is a chance that perhaps, if Polt ends up losing 1 or 2 medevacs, there is a chance that Trap just wants to counterattack immediately. Either way, for the first time, Polt is going to show his army, and Trap revealed the fact that he does have charge. And I think as soon as Polt sees, like, well, you're not on 3 bases, there's not a whole lot I can do over here. I can't just really stim up your ramp against force fields, photon overcharge, and storm.
Wait.
Oh, we might have some sick storm. Oh my god, Polt.
Oh my god, how did Polt spot that? Oh, getting very lucky with that spot.
It's so funny how War Prisms derp against that wall. Like my favorite animation in the game.
Polt gets the amazing double scout on the Warp Prism and is immediately chrono boosting to catch up to it. That is one of the most valuable things on the map right now. Two Templar in it. He's going to get it. Is he actually going to do this?
He's going to use Ignite Afterburners now and drop the Marines below the Warp Prism. That would be a pretty sick play. Doesn't really get it. Try to though. A for effort.
Picks off the pylon. Moving back up, Trap juking it, does manage to successfully get down there. Oh, pair of Vikings moving out, and all the while this is going on, Trap has successfully planted an expansion, but we're seeing a very late third base right now for Polt up in the top left-hand corner. It's a hidden base.
It's really I'm a little bit surprised by this. Perhaps he's worried about crazy amount of zealots.
Oh, bottom side. It looks like Trap is getting assaulted. He needs to be so careful. These are his two Templar. Can he get a good hit off? Ouch! Oh, Polt wasn't expecting the drop.
Yeah, he was expecting zealots. He definitely wasn't expecting High Templars with Storm already. What a sick draw. There must have been like 10 SCVs or something. Well, the Archon doesn't reveal how many it truly was, but well done there by Trap, and that's definitely going to give him a little bit of a break. Polt is going to try to snipe the Nexus on the top side of the map, but Trap has units in the right location. However, now Trap is also going to have to worry about his natural, but he has units there as well. Man, Trap has a very good read so far on Polt's playstyle.
Yeah, again, it's just not the usual style of Protoss, which is very much so about the big center army and then the sort of wingmen that protect against the drops. This is all about playing Protoss as though you're Terran. Trap just has a whole bunch of half armies all over the place. Only the main has one of these backup wingmen position setups.
But it's still, of course, it's still really hard for Polt to capitalize on that, because you can't just really stim forward and try to pick a fight with one of these smaller armies, because there are storms, and it doesn't really matter how small the army is. If you stim into a defensive Protoss with storm, you're going to have a bad time. I really love how Polt is dropping all these Mews at this hidden base. Of course, you don't want to mine out your main and your natural any sooner than you already would when you have when you can drop Mules at a hidden base, because there is a high possibility that eventually you're going to have to evacuate that base, but at least then you mine a few more minerals and you can still fall back on your main and your natural as an income depth. Oh my god,
those storms. Oh, those storms show exactly the struggle that Polt's going to have at the left, getting force fielded, getting picked down. Trap showing the defensive capabilities of this mass Zealot Templar play, and I'm surprised to see Polt not adjust. The Widow Mine is the classic unit that lets the Terran player crush in and win here.
Okay, I'm not sure if there's still some defensive High Templars. There isn't a Mordor, and Mordor is quite scary. There are a couple of, oh my god, there were a couple of Zealots chasing down an SCV on the left side. Didn't find the base though. Polt is doing a really good job in picking up a couple of these Zealots. He's definitely spreading Trap relatively thin now, and this Nexus is on the fire.
It's down to half health, it's down to a quarter health, and it's almost gone. At the front of the base, Trap moving in for a kill. Widow Mine's at the front. The classic anti-Zealot counter. Now just ripping the Zealot line apart, really.
Man, Trap was so incredibly close to scouting that base on the left side of the map. He had Zealots literally on the ramp. He just didn't go all the way. Still completely unaware of this hidden base. Now there are literally units running all across the map, so it's kind of a dangerous ground. There is a real minefield going on as well, as there are just like Widow Mines left and right. Trap perhaps a little bit caught off guard by losing that base, and I think it's very smart he didn't commit. He didn't try to run up the ramp where there were bunkers as well, because Zealots are very bad against bunkers, and I think that fight would have gone good for Polt. So smart decision to just pull back, recollect yourself, and retreat.
Yeah, we always talk about the Colossus and the Templar as being the big anti-bio force, but the Zealots are actually Trap's most important tool right now. They're the insurance. Theirs will help even things out. If one storm misses, you need some kind of way to ensure that you're able to stay alive. Trap's sending Zealots forward. He still really doesn't have good observer placement around the map.
And above all, he also thinks he's doing very good, because, you know, normally as a Protoss player, if you're against a 2-base Terran, you're like, hey, this is awesome, like he's really going to have to attack me soon. And if he doesn't soon, I'm going to be very far ahead, because, you know, I'm already on 3 bases, I'm going to be on 3 bases again soon. This is going really good for me, man. I'm having a great time, but of course Polt has that hidden base, and that definitely complicates things a little bit. It doesn't mean that Trap's behind, not at all, because he has Colossus, he has Storm, so he's doing fine, but he probably thinks he's way further ahead than he actually is.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that this observer is not doing is getting deep into the main base and seeing that there's 8 barracks up. If you see 8 barracks as Protoss, you're like, okay, where's your money coming from? Polt's just now finishing up 2-2. Polt hasn't continued to press yet. The Ghosts are looking for any opportunity to do big picks on Archons. Looks like Polt is also playing at the stage to my right.
Polt's everywhere, man. Not just on merry-go-round, but also in real life. A couple of Ghosts on the high grounds will land an EMP. It doesn't really connect with all of the Archons. And I think this is about the time where Trap is starting to wonder, like, where are you getting all these units from? This doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Look at the Archons. They're so clumped up. The Ghosts can land a couple of ridiculous EMPs. Do we have Storms as well? Yeah, there are 6 High Templars in defensive locations. Most of them coming from the main and natural, though. He has to be very careful. He doesn't want to get the High Templars too clumped up.
Well, Polt is in a position that is not his strong point. That is not what he normally does. He is joining all of his armies together. He is trying to pack up for one big center engagement. That is the anti-Polt play. This storm drop at the right might distract. We're seeing Polt in 3 locations. If he joins together and engages, that's going to be his only hope.
Warp Prism is making his way across the map again. Trap in the last game, or the game on Frost, he only had 2 High Templars, but he made storms that were better than I would. Oh, the Warp Prism is getting Raids of the Widowmine and Vikings. Oh, 6 snipe.
Greets it. 4 Templar, 2 Colossus. Not a particularly good army, and one of the Colossus is glitching out in the center of the map.
But still, though, we saw before what Trap was able to do with very, very few High Templars, but they did come from a Warp Prism. Now he lost his Warp Prism. He's probably going to rebuild it pretty much immediately, as it is really important. He's also getting Warp Prism speed. It's very important when you want to carry precious cargo around like High Templars with energy to storm.
Polt is also doing more attacks at the center base. Polt's actually looking for an engagement here, and I think that this is a good time to advance forward. There's not a big amount of Vikings, but there is enough. The spread is large. It's a cancel. Trap still on 3 bases and is getting mined out in his main.
Yeah, good army movement there by Polt. Really, not really committing to anything yet, being able to cancel that 4th base. Trap would have loved to just go in there and fight, but the High Templars, they're slow units. They were trailing behind.
Yeah. And I mean, with Trap just moving his army around in one big control group, the positioning has a lot of vulnerabilities in it. The Templar in the center of these forces, right next to the sentries, the Colossus a little to the left, and this is a very...
Oh, time warps are going to land. Okay, Trap wants to fight. The Warp Prism is coming in from the right side as well.
Oh, storms out of the Warp Prism. 2 amazing storms land. The Colossus not quite participating in the fight in the way they want to. The front line is falling. It looks like there is a lot of bio extending all the way back. It's going to be a close fight. The Colossus falls, but it's a retreat. Polt does have a lot of reinforcements at the backside.
Yeah, Polt retreats, but I don't think that was a losing fight. The one Colossus does survive. That is a little bit unfortunate. He's 5 army supply down, but it wasn't that bad. It could have been gone worse. It's very unfortunate that one Colossus died. I think otherwise he could have started kiting with his Marauders, and he would have a very good time at least picking up 1 Mirror Mortar, but even 2 perhaps, if he's able to attack them with concussive shells. However, that one Colossus that survived the last bit of the Vikings, oh my god, it was down to 2 HP.
Health, yeah.
That is so sick, because if it would have died, I really think Polt could turn around and like start trading units, especially because the reinforcements for him was going to arrive a little bit quicker than the ones for Trap.
Now here's a clever little move. Rather than devote a lot of energy to get Vikings, we're seeing a Raven get built. Point defense drone to absorb the Stalker shots, letting a small number of Vikings do more damage, and that will let Polt have more bio on the field. His trademark core army unit move. Trap continuing to advance so he can secure this base on the right. Another expansion for Polt goes down, and this top left expansion, for all the good it's doing, this is just an even game.
Oh, it's scouted by the Observer. For the first time in this game, Trap is aware of the fact that his base is there, but it doesn't really seem to bother him. He is marching across the map now. The Viking count is currently at 5 against 3 Colossus. Double Robo is really good, and Polt is forced to evacuate his orbit, or he might actually end up losing it as well.
Oh, Polt is trying to get out of there. It's at burning level. He might bring SCVs to repair, but right now Polt is almost all on the defense. Oh, Trap takes it down. What a move. Also, Trap, as he advances forward, as he gets in all these good positions, Polt is starting to look very, very thin on expansions, very low on bases. All the expansions for Polt have been spotted, but look at this force from Polt that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's really funny as well, because now Trap knows about this base on the left side of the map, but I'm pretty sure that Polt will immediately counter on the right top side of the map as soon as he realizes that this army is on the left side. But Polt's losing a lot of bio units over here. He has to be very careful. This is a pretty expensive little loss. But at the same time, if Polt can kill this other Nexus, and we can see Trap now as well splitting up his army as fast as he possibly can. But this Nexus, Dane, I think it's a goner.
Trap is going to try to do the storm drops. He gets a great storm. He's dealing massive damage to the bio. The Nexus isn't sniped. At the top left, though, Polt is losing everything. The Colossus falls. In the unit count, 3 Colossus, 7 High Templar Storms have been the bane for Polt. He's trying, he's kiting, he's going to load and lift. Long-range mining from Polt. He has to reposition, pull back to the third, and a Warp Prism has just made it to the main.
Yeah, the Warp Prism is going to be really annoying to... where did it go?
It's in the main base. It's not. Oh, there it is.
There we go. Oh, we're losing the ghost. Man, I forgot the name of all the buildings. Help me out, Avishan. The Ghost Academy, there we go. Would be very frustrating because he needs those ghosts to deal with the storms. But above all, Trap is doing a really good job in keeping Polt busy and not losing any bases himself. These medevacs super exposed. They will get picked up as well.
The southern base, 35 SCVs, all that remain. Army supply, almost identical. It looks like there's a Colossus load up into a Warp Prism, and
the storms doing so much damage.
Just gigantic damage. There's really only 2 mining bases left for Trap right now, but that's still more than Polt. Polt has none.
This army is kind of trapped though for Trap, and it's still a very strong army, but there are no more storms. EMPs will land. I think Polt is going to be able to crush this army with ease.
Oh, Polt this is the breather he's been looking for all game long. Zealots are starting to step forward. We're seeing the last Colossus will be picked. And Polt's got to be careful. Lift. No, Polt's going to lose a critical orbital command. Every orbital he loses is one step getting closer to no income because Polt has 21 SCVs versus the 58 of Trap.
Yep, not able to drop a whole lot of news from this point on. Trap has done a really good job in shutting down the economy of Polt. It's been a really fun and entertaining game, but Polt just not getting the openings that he would like to. And picking up that army in the left bottom side of the map was great, but Trap is just so much richer than Polt already for a while, especially after he found that hidden base, that it's going to be really hard for Polt to claw his way back into this game. Trap right now 50 supply ahead.
50 supply, that's a nearly unwinnable position. Trap now has the gas up. He's going to be getting more Templar. There's no longer the critical Nexuses everywhere. In that early game where we see the so frequent Nexus snipe, that's successful because Protoss really does need 3 bases worth of income, but it's just this one on the right and this one on the top that Trap is comfortable with. Polt hardly has any income compared to his Protoss opponent, about half right now.
There's so many Zealots on the map as well for Trap. In general, he has pretty okay map vision. Even going to Storm, he needs 2 Storms to kill that Widowmine, but he's going to do it. He's going to feel good about himself as well. A couple of Marauders will stem forward. Good feedbacks on these medevacs. From this point on, Polt cannot afford to lose any units. He's barely earning any units, and this Protoss army looks terrifying. Trap has been playing very, very well so far in this series.
We're seeing continued kiting from Polt, but this is not a very kite-friendly army. The Zealots don't take a lot of damage from the Marauders. The Blink Stalkers picking off whatever they can. The entire army from Trap is actually chasing up here, and even though this seems like an insane overcommitment, it's clear Polt's going to perform this move. Well, I'm actually surprised he was able to get out of that.
Yeah, it's well done by Polt. He's doing a really good job in buying time for himself, but it's kind of unfair. He's fighting an uphill battle. It's 178 supply against 100. That is his only mining base, and the moment you're able to drop 2 storms for a Widowmine, you know you're in a good position. Trap is going to move forward. He's going to try to shut down this base. The majority of Polt's army supply is even stuck in the left top side of the map, won't even participate in this fight. The Ghosts are being surrounded as well by these Zealots. Cloak will save them for now though, but there's just so much Protoss.
I mean, Polt, who's known with the trademark army splitting, struggles in the direct engagements, and Trap is forcing those indirect engagements every single time. This will bring Polt, Storm at the left. Everything Polt's trying to do with these counters are falling apart.
Storms left and right. It's definitely been a very stormy map so far here on Merry-Go-Round, where Trap is looking to get 1 map win away from being the champion of MLG Anaheim 2014. And then he has played a remarkable tournament, especially today on Sunday, where he had to overcome a lot of hurdles, but he did it so far. He's playing absolutely fantastic.
Bottom right corner, Polt has just lost all his remaining SCVs to a Zealot. And this army's moving in. He's going to lose his remaining expansion command center. And Polt has no options. Trap playing the perfect counter to Polt's style. Splits aren't going to do it. It's a max Protoss army. Planetary Fortress isn't going to do it. There's no income. Try as Polt might to micro this. Trap has Polt's number.
So far he does. Of course, Polt knows what it takes to make a comeback in this series, but it's not going to happen on merry-go-round as the last bio units will fall and GG is called. Trap wins 3 games in a row.
And this isn't just 3 games in a row against Polt. This is 5 games in a row if you include their first match.
Wow, yeah.
Polt, who hasn't lost a single series until he got to the finals, is in the worst possible situation. 1 game away from being given 2nd place, and we know Polt came here to win. When we return, Polt is 1 game away from elimination, and Trap is 1 game away from claiming his first MLG championship. Stay tuned.